It's the Dadnarok After Show. Now, here's Chris and Sean.
Welcome back once again to the Dadnarok After Show. This is Sean.
And it's Chris.
And tonight we are talking House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 4, the title of which is The Red Dragon and the Gold. I knew it this time.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we're stepping up our game then.
Yeah. I had the notes in front of me.
There we go. I mean, I guess we got to cheat a little ways.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know who we are, we're Dadnarok. We do this show reviewing the House of the Dragon every week, Monday nights, with a little bit of flexibility because, you know, we're dads.
Yeah.
We are fully interactive. Let us know what you think while we're going on the show. It's no paywall. We'll bring it up. We'll address it as we're going. So this is a conversation between Sean and I and you guys. So join it. It's fun. But hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Spread the joy here. But I think it's about the time that we dive into this.
Another good episode.
I
mean,
beyond good. This was my first thought of this was Game of Thrones ish, because all the other ones had the intrigue, it had all of that. This was the first time we got some actual like real meat to the story,
real consequences, real death, real destruction, real mayhem. I mean, not to bury the lead here, but is the king dead?
No,
they're
not going to kill him, even though he fell the same way Rhaenyra did, or no, we're not going to kill him. I'm going to be pissed about it. If I'm going to be completely frank, I'm going to think it's a complete cop out, and it's going to be the first thing that's going to upset me about this show as a whole in season 1 and 2.
If he doesn't die,
if he doesn't die, the way he fell, and being the same way that Princess Rhaenys fell. Well, she fell backwards, but we didn't see exactly how he fell with Sunfire. Regardless, same height. He fell into the woods. She fell into a castle. He should be dead. There's no ifs, ands, or buts in my mind. He should be dead.
I don't know. With it being fantasy, and you know, it's not like you're falling on a skyscraper or something. Like he's falling on a living being that has a connection to him, like almost like your dog would pull you out of a burning building kind of thing. Like, I can almost buy, because we are in the realm of fantasy, that maybe his dragon like protected him last minute. You know, I don't know how exactly.
Just kind of bear hug him and kind of fall.
Or like, you know, the old elevator trick where you jump right before you smack the bottom of a falling elevator, you know?
Dude, I mean, I don't know. I would not like that, honestly.
Yeah.
I would not like that at all. But that we'll cross that bridge if that is the bridge that they want to die on. You know what I mean?
I think we're gonna have a little bit of both. I think he's gonna be incapacitated, and I don't think he's dead, but I don't think he's gonna be like hopping back up on the throne and doing his Agon antics. I think it's going to cause a stir, and because he is sort of unable to fulfill his duties, but he is still alive, I think it's going to cause kind of a weird thing where there's almost going to be a fight within the greenhouse.
Greenhouse. I mean, yeah. I mean, I've seen the preview. We'll talk about that later. Next week. I always watch all the way to the end of the credits, and I watched the House of the Dragon built. I watch all that just cool aftermath stuff. But this started off with a scene with Alicent, and she had the Grand Maester bring her a thing of tea.
Oh yeah, the moon tea.
Yeah, when he brought it in, I'm like, oh, see, my wife Janessa had no idea what was going on.
Yeah,
and I was like, because I don't think they've ever referenced this tea before in the show. So I'm like, oh, I'm familiar with the tea.
Not in House of the Dragon, but it was all over the original show, yeah.
And the first thing I was thinking is, oh man, she's pregnant with Cole's kid. And I'm like, oh, that could be a mess.
You think she just drinks it like once a month just
Oh God, I hope not.
Well, you know what I mean? Just to like take precautions, because she's clearly like, she keeps doing it, right?
No, she's throwing caution into the wind when it comes to her and his relationship. With him being gone, I don't think so. I think this is like she knew, and she had to handle it.
You know, I was kind of weirded out by when she started talking to, um, not Littlefinger, Littlefoot.
Lars Clubfoot.
Lars Clubfoot. Littlefoot was the dinosaur from the Land Before Time.
The Petrie.
You're right. Yeah. Um, but she said like how it's only been weeks since Viserys was still alive, and like it's so hard to believe like it hasn't been that long since.
No, it has been longer. I think she was being more just flippant with her timing. It wasn't because it's been years. Because Aegon,
how do we know it's been years?
Huh?
How do we know it's been years?
Aegon's the two kids, the twins. They were like 2 years old.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that right there gave us the time jump at the very beginning of the show. So it hasn't been weeks. She was just kind of being, this has happened to me. This has happened to me. This has happened to me. This happened, all in this short period of time, and not so much referencing, really what the time has been. Like
maybe I misunderstood the dialogue. If y'all are watching, let us know. What did Allison say? Has it been weeks? Did she say it's only been a matter of weeks since
she
Viserys
said
was
weeks?
alive?
Yeah, I'm fairly certain you're right with the way she said it.
Yeah,
but the way that I took it
stressed. Yeah,
was more like she was using it as just a place setter of like all the things that have taken place.
I mean, conversation in a a room between just the two of those people, Alicent and not Littlefoot, Clubfoot, Lars Clubfoot.
Yeah, Lord Lars Clubfoot.
It harkened back to the first season where they had multiple conversations, closed door conversations.
Oh yeah, and all had revolved around her feet too.
Right. Hopefully there was none of that anymore. We saw that.
We've seen plenty of that in the first season.
Yeah. I think she kind of shut him up though, because he was really poking for details, really kind of once she had stated and kind of gave a summary of how, it doesn't matter whether or not Viserys was right or wrong or what his intentions were at this point. Like, his intentions died with him or whatever she says. It kind of shuts him up for the minute. He's like, oh, indeed. And he doesn't
I
go on.
think he has enough ears around to know that she's asking questions of other people. Like the Grand Maester, he answered the question perfectly. I mean, the most political way to answer it without getting himself in any type of trouble.
Yeah.
So he was like, I was never in the room, so I wouldn't know what his intentions were. He never discussed it with me.
That's the problem with characters like this, although I do love characters like this. Like, was it Viserys? No, not Viserys. Maybe it was. The Master Whisperers back in the old show.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, yeah.
And then Littlefinger and and Larys this time around. It's almost as though you can't really tell if they are poking and prodding for information themselves or because they speak so subtly. You know what I mean? Like, they speak around things and they speak in a way where you can't really understand their intentions half the time. Because it was hard for me to know if he was intentionally poking around to let her know that he knew without, you know what I mean? Like,
I kind of got that feeling. I got this feeling because he was like, I'm gonna be like blunt with you.
Right.
When he put it that way and he was trying to see how far he can push it, that's when I was thinking, okay, he knows what's going on.
Right.
Is she gonna confide in him? And she didn't.
Or even with the Moon Tea stuff, just like, I mean, he knows what it is. He gives all these like sly little smiles, and just like the dialogue is basically what it would be if he were to be unknowing of what's going on with her and just believing that she ate some bad food and she has some food poisoning and she's not feeling well, right? But the inflection of their tones, the actual looks that they give, and Alicent too. I feel like they're almost having this separate conversation without saying the words that they're actually meaning.
They both know exactly what they're saying without saying what they're thinking. So it can be, if you're not following closely, you'll get lost real quick.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a shorthand, right? And it's a good thing. And probably people in the royal house with any success would need to do this kind of thing just to ensure that all those spies that are lingering around everywhere, they hear what they hear, but they may not hear the actual words behind the words,
Yeah, exactly. They're not in the room, so they can't read facial expressions or body language or any of that extra stuff that goes along with what's being said.
Yeah. So that'll be an interesting thing. Alicent had a okay episode after how it ended last week, I wasn't quite sure how she would kind of go on knowing what she knows now, because
Yeah.
she knows. I mean,
Oh,
she's
yeah.
basically just like, I messed up. This is crazy, but we're just in too deep now.
There's nothing we can do about it now.
Yeah.
It's all the board's already in motion. It just the pieces got to fall where they fall now.
Yeah. She was pretty rude to Aegon. Aegon had a couple of council meetings where
He was brushed off.
yeah.
He was essentially just someone at the small council. He wasn't the king. And Aemond was acting as the king in this instance. You know
Right.
what he was going, and I thought it was great when he broke out the old Valerian and he just
Yeah.
started talking to him. And it's like he was putting him in his place in front of everybody, and no one else knew a word they were saying. And you can tell how much more fluent Aemond is over Aegon.
Yes, I like that too, because when Aegon responded in Old Valerian, he was really taking his time, and the subtitles were like very broken English.
Yeah, or then it got the dot, dot, dot. That was like the pause to give us the idea that, okay, he's thinking or not sure exactly how to respond.
Yeah, I did like that. I just, during that scene, I understand, and Aegon he's young, he's brash, he's immature, but I don't think it's unreasonable for your king to want to be included in plans.
To the extent of a war? Absolutely not. That is not.
I mean, by all means, he could have. I mean, they're really against kinslaying, but he could have punished, Daemon in some way.
House of season Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
He very well could have been.
Right. I mean, imagine Robert Baratheon if, his council is plotting without, you know what I mean? There'd be hell to pay.
Yeah.
So it's, I think, Aemond, the whole time he was kind of taking it so personally, and as well he should, but there's a way of just literally all you could do is be honest. Like, look, I'm the king. He has to say that all the damn time. He has to remind everybody he's the king all the time. But they don't treat him as such, right? They treat him as this figurehead, this just, cardboard cutout that happens to be in the room
for somebody to come.
Right. And him just being like, look, I need to know, this is need to know basis. I need to know. Yeah. I am, I want to be included in these talks. I don't mind that, my brother is here and, Daemon has these great plans and stuff. Hey, that's great. Like, just include me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think, and I don't know if there's anything that Daemon could backfire with that. Like, yeah, of course you're supposed to include the king. So it's like, well, Daemon can say, until this, his face is blue that, oh, you're not, don't have the responsibility or whatever, just like chiding him. But if Aegon shows that he does want to be included and he's like, no, I genuinely, I want to be a part of this effort. And if he's genuine about it, I think that kind of lowers Daemon's, rashness a bit.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, Aemond went as far as like, okay, we're going to Rookwood, or Rookkeep, or whatever it was, Rook something.
Michael Rooker.
Yeah, the battle. Yeah, but there's like, why are we going there? Why are we going to that point? And unbeknownst to him, they were setting up an ambush.
Yeah,
and they had a whole thing going on. And Cole, his whole storyline going straight up the coast and basically slaughtering anybody that wasn't bending the knee to Aemond was pretty crazy. I mean, that was the brutality that I've been waiting for in this show, and it's coming, and we're seeing it little by little. But that battle at the end that we're leading into was that was crazy. I enjoyed that so much. It got so many reactions out of me.
Yeah.
When I was watching it, but we're not even too. There's other things that happened before we even got to that. Daemon at Harrenhal.
Yeah,
what the hell is going on with Daemon at Harrenhal? Why is he sticking around?
Daemon is sticking around because there's this belief that Harrenhal is a prize to be won, and I think it is an end game. And, it's not just the castle, it's the lands that kind of surround the castle too. And, I think he's there because he needs to be. That place is haunted. That place is straight up haunted, though. Right?
Just get out. I mean, the first night would have been enough for me. I don't have to see Rhaenyra as a a young girl again, sitting on my throne, talking to me in High Valyrian, and just going, and then him beheading her.
Yeah.
That was nuts. And then still talking to him.
I know, and I love that shot where he woke up and he had the blood on his hands still, and then there's a different shot from a different angle, and the blood wasn't there anymore. But it just like it really kind of spoke to that when you wake up from a bad dream and you don't know where the hell you are for a second. And yeah, it was some cool editing there and direction. Yeah, the other thing that was really disconcerting about him being there, he talked to that witch lady. Do you have her name in the notes?
No, they just refer to her.
Oh, she even introduced herself too. I didn't. Dang it! I just watched it. I'm bad with names, but yeah, she gave him something, and all of a sudden he like time travels.
Gave him a drink, and he winds up at a table talking to one of these young knights that are representing another house.
Yeah,
and it's like, and he's sitting there, he's seeing things, and
it's bright outside. It's hours have passed.
So he's not in his right mind. There's things are completely off kilter with him right now and where he's at.
Yeah. I'd be running out of there, dude. I don't care if I have a dragon or not. Like, a dragon can't do good if you
it's out of your mind. A dragon can't help me when I'm hallucinating.
Right. And it's what's funny is that it's just an exercise in power and who holds power, right? Because Daemon, of course, he's powerful. He has Xeraxes, and he's a very powerful guy. And this witch who just happens to be, kind of doing her own thing. Just anybody, you know what I mean? The little folk can have a serious repercussions on all these very important people in Westeros. Like anybody could have their day, and he just needs to be more careful. So brash.
Well, he's always been that way from the moment we met him.
He thinks he's untouchable.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He drank the stuff. After complaining that he wasn't going to eat the food, he takes a cup from this lady and drinks it. Come on, dude.
So I don't know what's going on there. I don't see him getting an army from there. He's not. I don't know what the end game is there. I don't, and I'm not sure if there's one that's written that kind of gives us a hint of what's going to happen with them. What's going to happen at Harrenhal. Yeah. But after what took place at the end of this episode, he needs to come home.
Yeah, he does. Last episode, it almost was pointing the way for this big confrontation, and there was a big confrontation. It's just not how I thought it would happen. Because, Daemon wasn't even a part of it. I'm curious to know what Daemon will do after finding out about, Rhaenyra dying and Aegon's dragon falling, and like he wasn't there for it. Like all this action is happening in these towns and these smaller villages and castles that are surrounding Harrenhal. Yeah. But he's stuck at the haunted house, and you think he'll leave next episode?
He's gotta come home. They gotta tighten that, tie off that actual storyline. Either he gets the army that he's looking for, or he just bounces. That's essentially what's got to happen, because there's too much going on now. Definitely with what happened in battle, at Rookwood or Rook whatever.
I think Rookwood, yeah.
Is it Rookwood?
Rookwood, sure.
I put it down. Rook
Rest. Rook Rest.
That's what it was. I knew it was something. Rook something. But
look, you guys gotta correct this. We're gonna misname things a ton on here. So please. Hey, there's no paywall, by the way. You don't have to pay us $1 to leave a comment. We'll even bring it up and we'll talk to you.
There we go.
We'd love to do that. So yeah, I mean, huge episode with a lot going on. Pour one out for Rhaenyra.
Oh, dude. So let's talk about the small council with at Dragonstone.
Yeah.
So they're basically infighting, and they're sitting there, and you got Rhaenyra, and you have Jace. Yeah. Jace is standing there like, you know what? We got to hold on. We got to do this. We're waiting for her to come back. We don't know where she is. Her son's getting pissed. It's like, where is she? She should be here helping us. And when he finds out she went to King's Landing, he tightened the screws. He was mad. On her.
He did, yeah.
More than anyone. Everyone was looking at him in the room like, oh, dude.
He's like, you did what?
The backbone that he had at that moment, I absolutely loved it. I love the fact that he called his mom out on the floor in front of everybody, and he was probably the only one that could have done it.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. But I think she knew that he was right. I mean, she knew that she took a hell of a gamble there.
Yeah.
And it's like, they have the right to be upset because that was very dangerous. So I think she kind of knows that.
But then she
But
took the bait.
yeah.
She took the bait. Like, what were her words? She was like, my unwillingness to burn the place to the ground. That wasn't how she said it. Was being seen as a weakness. And she's like, you know what? Let's send them. And she wanted to ride, and they said no. And then Jace wanted to go, and she said no. That's when Rhaenyra stepped up. I'm like, oh boy. When she stepped up, my heart sunk.
Especially when I saw Rhaenyra's reaction to it, because and then when she was like talking to her dragon, Meleys on the way, like it felt like, something bad's coming, something bad. And yeah, Rhaenyra was like, she was gonna do it herself, but not willing to send Jace once again. Which, she uses the opportunity because she knows Jace is upset with her to actually talk to him about the Song of Ice and Fire, which is an important thing. I almost think it's like, he knows vital information now. He's going to die soon,
Yeah, right.
Because this whole Song of Ice and Fire thing is pretty much forgotten by the time a Game of Thrones comes along, and it just happens to like kind of flesh out into existence. But the Aegon's dream kind of vanishes with this whole war. I think we actually saw the Dance of Dragons when Rhaenyra.
We did.
I mean, where they were going at it, and the dragons were all twisted and fire blowing on each other, and like just twisting around in the sky. It was like, oh my gosh, it looked like the logo on the book.
Yeah, it was pretty damn awesome. Like when she flew in first, and she started taking everybody out, and I knew it. I knew Vhagar was there. The minute he popped up, I'm like, my reaction went, "Oh crap, Vhagar!" I sat back and I was like, they got verbal responses out of me, just hand motions out of me. I was flipping out left and right during this whole battle because I knew it wasn't going to end for Rhaenyra. Well, for Prince Rhaenyra, I was like,
well, yeah, she was going to be double teamed. I mean, that Vhagar would have been a dragon unto itself, like, because he's the biggest dragon out there. He's the big boy in the block. So pretty much any dragon against Vhagar, it's probably not going to end well. I don't care if Daemon and Syraxes went one-on-one with Vhagar. They may survive, but that would be one heck of a fight. So once it was like a double team and Aegon's dragon and Daemon's dragon were there, that's bad business for Rhaenyra.
Well, I mean, he took on Aegon's dragon with that wasn't even a fight.
Yeah, Aegon's dragon was tiny in comparison.
Yeah,
definitely the smallest of the three there.
Yeah, Sunfire. Yeah, she was taking out Sunfire because Meleys was battle ready. She's been in fights, so it's not like there was no fight there. But as soon as Vhagar came up there, and we talked about this. This is something we talked about because I thought that Aemond was gonna kill Aegon, and then you thought maybe he was gonna put him in a situation where he would hang him out to dry. Do you think he took an opportunity to kill him and say he was in a bad spot and it was an accident? Or was that an accident that, the situation?
No, this episode definitely pointed towards Daemon wanting to kill Aegon himself. There were two separate occasions. There was
Aemond. You keep on saying Daemon.
Maybe it's just my fat tongue in my mouth. When Aemon was in the sky and basically said Dracarys or whatever for his dragon to shoot them both. I mean, he knew they were both in the way.
It was almost like collateral damage.
Yeah, but he took the shot anyway, knowing that it would hurt Aegon and his dragon. And later, at the very end of the episode, when Cole's walking up, he comes upon...
Yeah, how'd you take that?
He comes upon Haemon with unleashing his sword and only puts his sword back once he realizes that Cole is behind him. I think he was going to...
finish the job.
Yeah, I think he was going to finish him off.
That was the way I read that too.
Yeah.
I was like, I just thought it was interesting that we were talking about that. And essentially what we talked about last episode actually came to fruition right in front of us.
Yeah.
But I was so mad at Rhaenys when she came back for the third time. It's like, you survived once, you went toe to toe with Vhagar, you didn't hit the ground. Vhagar smashed into the ground, took out a bunch of guys on the ground, and she flew off. And it's like she knew that she had to die in this spot for them to move forward. It was almost like her death would kind of be, a launching point, almost like a martyr in essence.
Yeah, I'm a little confused by that too because I feel like the Blacks feel like that they are in they're kind of the underdogs right now, even though they have a majority of the actual dragons. I don't know, they don't have the throne, they don't have the crown.
Yep.
If you don't have the crown, if you don't have
And-
King's Landing, then you're the underdog.
And really, with Vhagar, I mean,
Right.
that's really the
He's a great
ace in the
equalizer.
pocket. Yeah, I mean, dude. We knew he was big. I don't think we ever really got the scale of how big until this episode.
That's what I did love about this episode in particular is that we got to see a comparison shot between these dragons in the sky, getting to see exactly how big they were. The old show, I think those dragons, were different scales and different sizes depending on what the scene needed or the special effects
How
budget
far
for
away
that
they
week.
were,
Yeah, so you could never really quite tell. But this one, boy, you could. I mean, you could tell how big Vhagar was, how much bigger he was than Meleys, and then even Aegon's dragon, how small he was in comparison to the other two. So it was interesting seeing that for sure.
Yeah, that whole battle was something. And like I was so mad when she died. Was so.
Why do you think she came back?
I really think she thinks that she needed to die, or there was no going forward for her anymore. Her spot was dying on the battlefield there as a piece to maybe galvanize the rest of her side. I mean,
do you think Meleys was maybe like mortally wounded and wasn't going to survive the escape? And so she was like, well, while we're here, let's just give him hell before he totally
was flying all right, but she did take, some really nasty,
she got, Vhagar was, I mean, when she flew off and she almost crashed and then she peeled away and all that dragon blood. Oh, that was another thing too. You could see when the dragons bleed, it's almost like alien blood or whatever. It's like
and it burns, like it was killing people on the ground when it was hitting them.
Yeah, it's badass, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. I didn't think of it that angle, that maybe she wasn't going to make it back, or they were going to be ambushed. Like she knew that she wasn't getting away regardless. Why tuck tail and run when you can take the fight to them?
Yeah, exactly.
And still the outcome may be the same.
Right. Yeah. I think it was just kind of hard to tell in that moment. I think with all the chaos going on, what her real intentions were. But I think that's probably pretty close. But I mean, like I said before, pour one out for a great character. Boy, she'll be missing this show. I think she was awesome.
She was one of the best characters on the show. Amongst all these characters, she was one of the strongest characters on the show. So her being
what's Corlys gonna do?
He's gonna do exactly what I think she thinks he's gonna do. He's gonna flip his crap.
Yeah,
he's gonna go ahead and it's gonna galvanize him because he's gonna go into a level of mourning, and then he's gonna bring his fleet and they're gonna go.
Yeah,
I mean, to no end. Like, if he dies, he dies. He has pretty much nothing to live for anymore. His son isn't there anymore. His wife is gone.
Yeah.
So it's like he's got his naval fleet. His ship is pretty much done. It's repaired. Looks like it was repaired. And he's ready to go ahead and go off the battle again.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what Corlys's reaction. Oh, for the dramatic purposes, because I know how much they cared for each other, but just what that's going to mean for the war going forward. And we are in it now. I mean, it's war, baby. It's not a lead up to war. This is official.
Well, then you got Rhaenyra. How is she going to respond? Because she's been the one that has been mentoring her, basically counseling her on how to move forward.
Yeah.
So now with her gone, how is she going to move forward? Because now all she has really is Daemon, and she can't trust Daemon's, his word. And all the small council are fighting amongst themselves for every little piece of power that they can find. I don't see this going well or ending well right now for them. This is going to be a rough time for them.
What's the name of the one lady that had the scar on her neck and basically came back? What's her name? She was the guy that Rhaenyra was talking to a couple episodes ago, and now she's like Rhaenyra's
Oh
master
yeah, yeah,
whisperers.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Malik? No,
Mm,
no.
all I can think of is Rhaenyra's dragon's name, and I know that's not it,
Yeah,
Meleys.
no.
But anyway, I think this episode showed one scene of her kind of
She was
hanging around the
watching.
council.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she was
she was
watching
watching
from
the
above.
council. I think she'll probably have a bigger role to play going forward, especially with Rhaenyra's gone.
Yeah, I'll know it
Um,
here in a second, but yeah, it's for some reason it's
but I think there is a bit
escaping
of a
me.
vacuum there for the council for sure.
Yeah, she's gonna
Um,
wind up on it, and it's one of those necessities. She's gonna be basically, the whisperer for her. She's gonna be able to find out secrets. She's gonna be able to move things, when they need to be moved,
yeah,
and everything that's gonna be taking place. Masseria.
Mysaria, thank you,
I was
thank you
like, I
very
knew I was
much.
gonna get it eventually. Yeah, it's here amongst all the information I got up.
um, yeah, just do you think Cole noticed that Damon was making a play? I mean, he was the one that spotted him taking the sword out. And if he
By the
does know, do you think he's going to do anything about it?
No, I don't think he'll do anything about it.
Yeah.
But I think I think he was not in his right mind still. Once he got knocked off his horse when Vhagar came down,
Yeah, yeah.
he was still. I mean, I
Just
liked how they
concussed.
did the editing because the screen went dark, and then
Yeah.
it came back, and you see him. Then it went dark again.
Oh, I thought the episode was over.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, you would think that way. So the
Then it
way
came
it came
back.
in and out, the way it did,
Mhm.
and then when he finally is like, he just starts walking. He finds the guy that's basically all in ash, and he hits him, and he falls over.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, when he walks up there, I don't think he clearly understood what was going on. I know he saw what he saw, and he saw what we saw,
Yeah.
but I don't think he understood what he saw. Because as soon as he put his sword away, he could have said he had his sword out because he was on the ground. And there's plenty of people still out there. He
Right.
dropped to a knee and picked up the dagger that
Mhm.
we see, transfer all the way to the times that we know. So I don't think he actually understood what was going on. What Agon, not Agon, Aemond's actual
Aemond.
intentions were.
Uh Rhaenyra, I think she was fairly resolute from her trip to King's Landing, and I think her mind had been made up now that she saw what she saw and had that conversation with Alicent. But now even more so with Rhaenyra dying in battle, where do you think she goes from here? She just like full on burn every green flag or
I think
what?
it's now burn it to the ground.
Yeah.
I think there's gonna be a hard line in the stand, kind of like the wall. The wall is everything
Mhm.
above the wall. There's gonna be
Right.
a burning fire.
Yeah.
They're just gonna light the woods on fire, and they're gonna burn it to the ground. And
I'd
I
be
think that's
curious to see that map. They almost had like the CNN TV screen that they always go to with the map with all the blue and red states, but like the map of Westeros and like who had which claims, you know what I mean, between
yeah.
green and black. I'd be curious to see that, to see really who holds the most and what portions of Westeros are still up for grabs. And it was, I don't know if they're even keel as far as like who is proclaimed for who, like,
They haven't really told us a whole lot. So
no.
we know that, the Greens, they have armies because of what just
Mhm.
happened in the beginning of this episode. But
Yeah.
we don't truly know if Rhaenyra has any. And it sounds like she doesn't really have much
Yeah,
based
I
on what they're
mean,
telling us.
the from the dialogue, you can kind of interpret that like Rhaenyra doesn't have a ton going on for her besides the number of dragons. But besides
And
that, I
that's the
mean,
equalizer. But the big equalizer is Vhagar.
yeah.
Vhagar is the one that balances. Now, I was looking a little deeper into things. There's another dragon at Dragonstone that is equal size of Vhagar that does not have an actual rider right now.
Is that the one that was the Corlys's son that took off, right?
No, this was Viserys, his dad's dragon. When his dad died, no one he didn't take another rider. Is it Veramoth or Vermar, something like that? We've seen him once in episode in season 1 when Damon went down into the keep. We seen him. He looked at
Mm,
him, and then there was no other reaction out of them, and it's
Okay.
kind of parted ways. So there's a monster dragon waiting for a rider, and it's going to be someone from Team Black. It's going to
I
be the
gotcha.
equalizer between him and Vhagar. I'm not
That's
sure if we're going
interesting.
to see that this season or it's going to be next season, or
Yeah.
'cause we know we're getting a season 3, but there's going to be that dude.
Because
That's
you
going
could
to
probably assume the dragons are all cleared off the board by the end of this show, right? I mean, that would just make the most sense, and that would be the smartest move into like being a prequel leading into the show that we know, from a few years back where there were no dragons. Um, but well, I think there was something along the lines of there was a story where the dragons just got smaller and weaker, like they were still around, but then by the time they were in like the fighting pits and stuff, because remember the fighting pits?
yeah.
And like they were just like almost, like little dinosaurs, like raptors running around, where they almost got to a point where they were extinct and just didn't grow to the size what they were. I don't know if I can't remember if I read that in one of the actual books or how that actually goes down, but I think for the show it'd be a lot cleaner if we just see all the dragons on the board and just see them die.
Well, we already hear about a small council back in King's Landing was talking about how they need food for the dragons
Yeah,
for Vhagar. They're already starting to run out there,
right.
so it's not sustainable on what they're doing on how how they have to feed them.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think they're all going to be pretty much wiped off the map at the end of the show. Definitely seen that they live for hundreds of years. Like Vhagar's over
Yeah,
100 years old. So is this other one that's sitting there dormant. He's over 100 years old. So
right.
the fact that they can, live that long, and then we know, King's Landing when they took over for Game of Thrones, something had to have happened, and this has to be the event that basically, eliminates all of them.
Did we miss anything talking about anything? I think we pretty well covered it.
I think they pretty much covered, the works.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much, the gist of it. I mean, the big bad is this episode revolved around the battle.
Yeah.
And that was cool to see the behind the scenes of it. I mean, it's pretty much all movie quality production for
Right.
every one of these things. It's movie quality production. So I would absolutely say check it out if you haven't seen The House the Dragon Built. It's fun to go ahead and watch and see how things are done. But yeah, I mean,
Episode
if you guys
5 coming up next week.
Yeah, episode 5. If you guys are new to us, if you guys been watching and you haven't actually, commented it, please do so. We love it. I mean, it's something that actually helps our conversation, because when you go ahead and interject and put something in there that we completely forgot, it's awesome. But I hit that
Yeah,
like button, hit that
it
subscribe
helps
button.
the channel too. It helps the channel grow because the old YouTube algorithm, they see the engagement and that's what they like to see, right? So, if you guys are out there, I mean, be sure to, if you're watching us on replay too, be sure to comment. Chris is real good about responding to you guys in the message boards underneath the video, right?
Yeah.
The comment section, the old YouTube comment section. But next week when you join us for episode 5 and we're live, be sure to chime in too, and we'll talk with you.
There we go. I think that's pretty much all we got this week. So, like I say every week, I pay my debts.
See ya.